Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Hello guys, welcome to my channel. Today in this video tutorial we are going to start developing a new C# desktop application. It will be a complaint management system. In this tutorial we're gonna design the database as well as the full application. So let's start. First we will go to this SQL Server Management Studio and create the database. So I'll fire up this SSMS. Now I will click on this connect to connect the database engine. Now as we are connected, so I'll maximize this, and now I'll come to this databases tab, and now I'll right click on this and new database, and here I will give my database name CMS DB, and now I'll click OK to create this. Now this is our database, so I'll expand this. Now I'll expand this table tab, and you can see we do not have any table, so I'll right click on this and new table. So first we will create the users table for login. So it will be ID, and the ID will be int, and then user name, and it will be var 20, and then we have password, and it will be var 20 as well, and now I'll control S this and give this table a name. I'll name it users, and now click OK. So this is our user table. Now I'll right click on this ID column and set as a primary key, and now I'll go and make this auto increment, so it will increment. So it will increment when a record is added, so this ID will increment automatically by 1. So for that I will come to this, and here I will search for identity specification, and I will expand this, and now I come down and I will make this no, change this to yes, and now you can see that identity increment is 1 and identity seed is 2. You can is 1 as well. You can also change this to 2, then this ID will increment by 2. So I will control S it again, and now our user table is created. So now I will add in another table. If I refresh this, now you can see it is showing this user table. Now I'll create in another table, new table, and this will be our main table, which is a complaint table. So it will take complaint number, which will be integer, and then it will take complainant name. So complainant name I'll use small, and it will be varchar 20, and then we have a complaint date, so it will be complaint date and it will be a date, and then we have a complaint type, so I'll use type, which is int, because the type ID will come here. So I'll make this type ID, and then I'm going to use mark 2, and this will be var cow and 20, and then I will use a picture of this complaint, so pic, and it will take image, and then we have status, id, because status table will be another table. So here we will use status id, which is end. So this is our complaint table. So I'll control this, and I will name this comp table, and now I'll click OK. Now I can't make this auto increment, because it will be added from our form. So now I will add in another table. So for that I'll come here and new table, and it will be type id, it will be int, and type itself, and it will be var or 20, and then I'll control this, and I'll use type table and click OK. Now I'll click on this and set as a primary key. Now I'll go to identity specification, and here I'll change this, expand this first, and then I'll change this to yes, and now I'll control S it. Now I'll add in another table, new table. I will come to this table, and this one will be status. So I'll use status id, which is int, and then we have status itself, which is var car 20, and now I'll control this, and I will name this status underscore table, and now I'll click OK, and now I'll make this it is a primary key, and now I'll use identity specification. So I'll click here, I'll expand it first, and then I will click here, and this step down, and yes, and now I'll save it again. So we have created our database. Now we have to create the constraints on the tables. So for that, the easiest way is to come to this database diagram and create a new database diagram. Yes, and now select all the tables, and now add, and now close this. Now as you can see, we have a status id here and a status id here, as well as a type id here, as well as a type id here in this one, in this table here. So now we have to create the foreign key constraint here. Now to create a foreign key constraint, first let me take this table, this type table, close to this. Now I'll click on here on this type id, and now I'll click drag this to this table, and now when I leave it, it will create this. Now it is saying me that here this type table, this type id is primary key, and here in this, what you want to select which column in this complaint table. So for that I will come to this type id and select this, and click OK, and now click OK. So now you can see that the foreign key constraint is created here from this type id to this type id in this complaint table. Now I'll control this, and I'll name this diagram 0. Okay, yes, and now I'll go again to this table, status 1, and now let me take it a bit close to this. So I drag this, now I'll click on this here on this column, and as this arrow appear, so click and drag this to this. Now as you can see, it is saying this status ID is primary key in the status table, and in this complaint table we have this complaint number. Do you want to create a parent key constraint on this? So no, I do not want to create on this. I want to create on this status ID. So I'll select this and click OK and click OK, and now I'll control this and click yes. Now we have created the primary key and parent key constraints. Now the next thing we will do is create stored procedures for inserting and retrieving data from these tables. So for that, I'm in this CMSDB, and I will search for programmability, which is this one. I will expand this, and now we have stored procedures here. So I'll right click on this, create new stored procedure. As you can see, it has created a template of creating stored procedure for me, but I will remove all of this by selecting all and removing this. So we will create this from scratch by ourselves. So a stored procedure start with the create keyword. So create, you can write procedure or proc. You can write the complete procedure spell as well, and then you write the name of the stored procedure. So I'll use SP, which stands for stored procedure get user ID. So this is the stored procedure name, and then we use the parameters at user name and its types, which is varchar or varchar, and its length is 20, and then comma, and then we have at password, which is also varchar and 20. After the last parameter, you do not need a comma, and then you use the as keyword, and then begin, and then you write the query, which is select ID from users this table via user name equals add username parameter. Actually this parameter will come from the form, and password equals password, and then we will use the end keyword. So our stored procedure is created. Now if I execute this, you will see, now if I go down to our database CMSDB, this one, and now if I click here refresh, and now if I go to programmability, now it is not appearing here, so I'll close this, and now if I right click on this and refresh this, and now if I expand this and go to store procedure, now you can see SP get user ID is created here, the stored procedure. Now if you want to modify this, you can modify by right clicking on this and modify. and you can execute this as well by right clicking on this and click on this execute stored procedure, but you have to provide the username and the password. So we will see this in a later session. Now we will create the insert stored procedure to insert some values in this complaint table, and in this status table and in this type table we will insert stored procedure data directly. So let's first insert data here directly. So for that I will come right click on this, close this, and I will right click on this and edit top 200 rows. As you this is primary key and is auto incremented, so I will enter the here pending, and then tab. As I press tab, here one is added. Now when I enter here resolved, and now if I go to this third row, will automatically appear here. So this is auto increment. Now I'll control this, and now I'll remove this, close this, and now I'll go to this one, this table, and edit top 200 rows. So now we will enter the type of the complaint. So it is from PM, which means Prime Minister, or it is from CM, or IGP, which is the police personnel or head of the police. And now if I click to this, I go to this other row, now 3 appear here. So these are also auto increment. This type IT is also auto increment. So we have populated these two tables. Now let's create a stored procedure for this complaint table, which will be populated from our form. So for that I will come to the stored procedure, and now I'll create new stored procedure, and now I'll remove all of this. So I'll increase the size of the text a bit by clicking on control and mouse wheel, moving mouse wheel, so it will increase the text size so that it is visible. So now we will create another stored procedure. So create proc, and it is sp insert complaint, and then we have the parameters. So at c number, which is int, comma, and then at c name, complainant name, which is war char, and which is 20, and then comma, and at c date, which is date, comma, and then it type id, which is int, and then is mark 2. So mark 2, which is war 20, and then is add picture, which is war binary, and it will be max, because we are going to pass in here a byte array. And then we have status id, which is int. And now we will create the insert. So insert, now parenthesis, and here I will pass in the value c number, the columns actually c number, comma c name, complainant name, comma complainant date, comma then is type id, then is mark 2, then is picture, and then is status id. And now we will close the parenthesis and then values, and then we will pass in the values here. So which are these parameters: at c number, comma at the rate c name, comma at the rate c date, comma at the rate type id, comma at the rate mark 2, comma at the rate picture, comma, and we have status id. And now we will end here the stored procedure. So now our stored procedure is created. So now if I execute this, now you can see that it is showing an error. The column name is specified more than once and the set class. So it is saying that okay, I have used this both date, so it is name. And now if I execute this, now it executed successfully. So now if I refresh this, refresh, now you can see this insert column complaint is created here. Now we have to go to this these tables, and I have to change this picture type here. So I'll go design, and as you can see I have used this image, so I'll use this var binary, and it will be max, because we are going to pass in a byte array. So for that we'll use var binary type, data type. Now I'll click yes to save this. Now we will create the retrieve or the get stored procedure. So for that I'll come here, and we have to use joins inside this stored procedure. So for that I will come here, new stored procedure. Now I'll control A this and backspace this. So we will use joins in this stored procedure to get values from type table and state table. So first I'll come here, create procedure or proc get sp get complaints, and now we will use at var var 5 as parameter as begin. We're going to select values from table using year. So now we will use select c dot c number comma c dot complaint name from complaint table is we're gonna give this table name as C. So as you can see, I have given this the name of C. So this start is stop showing error, and now I'll use inner join type table as T on C dot type ID equals T dot type ID. Now I will use comma here, and I will use T dot type. So now you can see this, that it is selecting complaint number, complaint name, and from complaint table, and this type from type table. Now we will go on and select the status, but first let me create all the complaint columns, or select all the complaint columns. So C dot complaint date, this one, comma, I will use T this, and I will create a comma here, and C dot mark 2, so this one, then comma C dot picture. Now I'll come down here, and I will use another inner join, and now we will use status table. So status table as is, so C dot on, here I forgot on, C dot status ID equals S dot status ID. We are now I will get only the error from this complaint date. So for that I will use ER comp date equals to @ER, and now I'll use end. So our stored procedure is created. So it will take only the year from this complaint date, and it will compare it to this year, and if it is record or comparing, and so it will select all these fields and return the stored procedure. So I will execute this. So now as this stored procedure is created, so now we will create an update stored procedure which will be similar to this insert. So I'll create new stored procedure, and I'll control A, backspace this, and now I'll get this insert stored procedure. I'll modify this, so I'll copy this stored procedure from here, up toward the end. Control C this. Now I'll close this store procedure, and I'll control V it here. Now I'll change this to create, and here I'll use SP update, and now I'll come here and remove this, up to here, and I'll use update, and now I'll use set, and I will use C number equals at C number and comma. So this update is showing error because I haven't mentioned the table, so which is complaint table. So now it will stop showing this error, and now I will use here complaint complainant name is equal to @CName, and similarly at complaint date equals C date and comma. Now complaint or type ID equals to at type ID, and then is mark 2 equals at marked 2, and then I'll use picture equals at picture, and then I'll use status. So I forgot comma here, so status ID will be equals at status ID. So our store procedure is complete. Now if I execute this and if I refresh the store procedures here, this is our store procedures. So if I refresh this, now you can see that update SP update complaints is created as well. So now the database work is complete. We have created a complete database. So the next thing is creating a login form. So as we have created the database, now we will create a new project in Visual Studio. So I'll come to this new project, and so from here I will select desktop application. So I'll go to this desktop, and now I'll select window forms app application, and now I'll click next, and here I will give the application name as CMS complaint management system, and now I'll click on create to create the project. So the project is created. Now we will rename this form to login form. So I'll right click on this and rename, and here I will name this login form, and now I'll click OK, yes, and now I'll go to this form properties and change this form 1 from here. As you can see, it is showing here form 1, so I'll change this to login form. So login form, and now I'll resize this form a bit so that we can create a login window. So I'll resize this and this as well. So now this is good. So we will first add the functionality, then we will design this form So first I will get into this toolbox and go to this and search for a text box, and now I'll place it here. Now I'll expand it a bit. Now I'll go here and drag a label as well, so I'll use label, and now I'll drag it here, and I'll use it here. Now I'll change the text of this form to I'll browse this and I'll make this bold and 11 and click OK. And now as you can see, the form sizes become bigger, so I'll resize it again. So I have closed all the windows, so I'll resize it now. So I'll resize it there from this side as well as from this side, some more from this side, and now I'll take this label to this side and this as well. Now I'll go to properties of this label, and now I'll make this the text as username, and now drag it. Okay, now I'll click Control and select both on this label and this, and now I'll drag it down, so this will be our password field. So for now I'll change this the text of this label. So for that I'll come to this text, both are selected, so I'll select only label, and I will change this username to password. So now this is password. Now I have to change this to password. So to make it password, we have to change to check for password character, which is here. So I'll put a static here, and when I put a static here, and now if I run this application, and now if I click here and put some text, so now you can see it is showing statics instead of text, so it become a password text field or text box. Now we will add in a button and this will be called login. I'll call this button login. And then I will duplicate this button by selecting this button and press Ctrl and drag it, and now I'll extend this a bit and as well as this one. Okay, now I'll call this button cancel. I'll make this C capital, and now we will change the, so I have made the wrong button cancel, so I'll make this login again, and I want this button to be cancel button, so I'll make this cancel, and now I'll change the names of these buttons. So this is cancel button, so for that I will go to top, and here this name will be changed to cancel btn, and this will be become login again btn, and this will become username, txt, and this will become password txt. So now we have done this. Now I'll double click on this login button to create a click event, and now here I will copy some code and then we will explain that. So I have already coded this project, so I will get this login method from this and copy this from here, and now I'll go to that project and now I'll paste it down here. Now it will start showing error, so I'll go here to the top because we do not have this constant class. First let me add the server to this, so I'll go to this server explorer and then to this add database, and now here I can select the database. So for that I will come to this SQL Server Management Studio, and from here I will copy this server name, this one. You can copy your own server name, copy, and now I'll cancel this, and I'll minimize this, and now I'll come here. As you can see, it come here as well, so I'll paste it here. Now from here I will select database. So the database is I think this CMSDB that we have created already, and now I'll click OK. And now let's check the CMSDB at what we have in this. So tables, yes, we have this ones. Okay, this is our so this is our connection string. We can get the connection string from here. So I'll copy this connection string, and now I'll go to this view and get to this solution explorer. As you can see here, it is shown. So I'll create a new class in this project. So I'll add new item, and this will be a C# class, and I'll name this constants, and now I'll click add. Now I'll remove this. No, I will not remove this. I'll create some space here, and I'll create public static string and connection equals Control V, and I'll put semicolon here. I'll Control S it, and now I'll get it here, constants dot connection. Okay, so this is our connection string. If I show you here in this constants, so this is our data source, our server name, initial catalog, CMSDB, and integrated security true. Now if this was false, then we have to provide username and password. We will learn that in a later session when we will finish this application. Now I come to login.cs, and now I have to import this some packages. Okay, now I'll explain this, but first let me change this. This will be username txt.text, and this will become password txt.text. So now this is resolved. Now we will go down and we will remove this, and later we will create a form when login is successful, and then we will go to that form from here. So now I'll go to database, here connect, and now I'll go to database CMSDB, not CMS, CMSDB, and now I'll go to stored procedures, as we have created all the stored procedure in our previously. So I'll go here and modify, click on modify to see structure. So as you can see, this is our stored procedure name. So I'll copy this, I'll paste it there, and this is our parameter, username and add password, and okay. So now I'll close this and go to our code. I'll go to top, and now I'll change the stored procedure. Now Control V this, and now I'll Control S this. Now I'll call this login method here, semicolon, and now if I run this application, now the application is running but the cursor is showing in this second. So let's change its tab indexes. So I'll go to design, and now I'll click on this and properties. We'll go to properties, and here I will search for tab index. So I'll make this its tab index 1, and I will make this tab index 2, and this will become 3, and this will become 4. And now if I run this, now you can see that the cursor is showing in the first one. So if I enter a password, admin and ASDF, and if I click on login, invalid username and password, and if I go to the database again and enter a username and password into that, and then we try to access, then let's see. So let's connect to the database, connect. I'll come here to the database, and from here I'll edit rows in user table. So this is user table, so I'll right click on this and edit top 200 rows, and now the ID is auto increment. So I'll tab this, and now I'll enter admin as username and admin as password, and now one entry is created. So now I'll go to this, and now I'll search here, stop this and rerun this, and now I'll enter admin as username and admin. And now if I click on login, now you will see that nothing will happen because we haven't created a new form which we can show on this when the login is successful. So I will close this, and now I'll go to F7, and now I can create a new form here. So I'll right click on this and add, and all new item, and I'll search here for window form, and I'll call this main form. Now click add. Now as you can see, main form is added. So I'll come to this login, and I'll go here, and when the login is successful, then I'll here show here the main form. So main form, or main is equal to main form, and I'll put semicolon, and I forgot the new keyword, so I'll use new, and now I'll show the main form, I'll show semicolon, and this dot hide semicolon. Now if I run this application, and now if I click on admin, and now if I click enter, now you can see that main form is shown, login is successful. So let's discuss this code. So what are we doing here? So I'll stop this, and now I'll go here to this login. So this is our connection string from our constant class, which I have already shown you. This one, this is our connection string, and then the next thing is we are creating an escapable connection, and we are passing this a connection string to it. Then we are creating an object of escapable command, and we are passing this stored procedure sp get user id and the connection to it. Then we are telling this this command is of type stored procedure. Then we provide the parameters to stored procedure, and we getting the text from the text boxes, and then we create an object here. So if you do not want to create this this object, or you can simply remove this object and assign it a null, and then we are opening the connection, and then we are executing this stored procedure. Then if an exception occurs, then we close the connection, and the finally executed if the object is null. So it means that this execute scalar return nothing. So then we if this execute return nothing, then the username and password is invalid or incorrect. So this is executed, and the connection is closed, and this is executed. But if the connection is this object is not null, so that it goes to this else, and which means that the username and password are correct. So it comes to this else, and show this main form, and hide this login form. So you can close. If I close this, if I write here this dot close, and now if I run this, and now if I use the correct username and password, and I press login, now you will see that the whole application exit, because if I go to program.cs, now you will see that here login form is running on the main thread. So this main thread should be running for the application to show a form. So now when we close this login form, then we are shutting down this main thread, so the application closes. If you want to close this login form, then you have to create here the login form. Here login form login equals new login form again dot show. Now when you use this, now you can close this login form, because this application.run will be running in the background, and then it can show the main form. Now if I run this, now if I use admin, and now if I click on this login, now you can see that the application is not exiting and the application is running. Now the problem is with this is, now if I close this, now the application is running and we have closed all the forms. So the so we can resolve this by closing this, and now I'll come to this main form that design, and now I'll go to its properties. Now I'll go to its events, and now I will search for a on close event form dot on close. It will be at the top. So this is the form closed. So I'll generate is click event, and now I'll write here application dot exit. So when the main form is closed, the whole application will exit. Now if I run this, and now if I use the correct username and the correct password and then tab and enter, and now if I close this, now you will see that the whole application closes. Now I will go to login form.cs, I'll go to design, and now I'll cancel, click event of this cancel button, and I will also use application dot exit here. So now when cancel is pressed, the whole application will exit. Now if I run this, and now if I click on this cancel, now as you can see the whole application exits. So this is now, as login is completed, now we will go to main form and we will design main form. So first I will change the size of this a bit. I'll make this a bit small, so that when I change the text size of this, now I'll go to properties and quickly change the text size. So I'll go to this font and change it to 11 in bold. So I'll select this and I'll select bold and 11, and now click OK. And now as you can see the font size increases, so I'll make this a bit small again. So I'll make this a bit small, I'll get it a bit down so that the height is increased. Now I'll go to toolbox, and first we have to check what fields we're gonna create in this main form. So we will go to complaint table and select the top 1000 rows or selected design so that we can see our fields. So we have this complaint number, complaint name, complainant name, complaint date, type ID, mark to, picture, and status. So now we will create fields for this. So for that I will go here, and first we will drag in a label. So I'll quickly drag it label, and then I will drag in a text box. So I'll quickly drag in a text box as well. So now I'll set it here, and now I'll drag it here as well. Okay, now I'll make this, expand this, and I will change the text of this to complaint dot number, and I'll also change the name of this comp number txt. And now the next thing we will do is I'll select this and select this both, and now I'll click Control and drag it here, and now I'll name this complaint name, the text of this label. So I'll change it to complaint name, which is complainant name, and I'll drag it. And now we will also change the name of this to complaint name txt, and then the other one is date, complaint date and type. So for that I will drag in a date time picker. So date time picker, so I'll drag it here. I'll make this a bit small, and now I'll come here and change its format. So format will be changed from long to short, and then I will come here and I will drag it down here, and I will use here complaint date, and then the next one will be a combo box. So I'll drag it here, and I will drag it here, and all drag it down. I'll name this complaint type, then I'll drag these two, and I'll change the text of this to mark 2, and then I'll use the status of the, so for that I will again drag in a combo box, or I could have copied the top one, and I'll copy this here, and I will name this complaint dot status, and now we will go to database to see more field. So we only left with picture, so for that we will use a picture box. So I will go here to tools and I'll search for picture box. So I'll add it to the middle, and now I'll add in a button to browse in a button into this picture box. So I'll make this the text on this button as browse, and I'll add more two buttons. So one here, and I'll name this or make the text on this as submit or save, and then I will have another button. Okay, now I'll control and drag it, and this will become, I'll name this update, and now so our form is complete. Now we're gonna make it functional. So for that I'll go to our already coded this form, so I'll copy the code and then we will discuss that. So first I will make this browse button functional. So for this I will use open file dialog, open file equals new open file dialog semicolon, and now if file open file dot to dialog equals dialog result dot okay, then do what? Then I have to rename the picture box, so I'll go to main, and here I'll rename this picture box to COMP pitch box. So COMP picture box dot image equals open file dot file name semicolon, and here I will use image dot from and this file and this, and I will use this as well. So now it is okay. Let's check this if it is working. So I'll go here, enter username and password, admin login, and now I'll browse. So it is letting me browse. So now I'll search for a picture on my, so I go to desktop. So here I have one. So if I open this, Now it is not showing up here. So this image is showing up, but it is only showing this white part. So if I browse and select another image, if I select this, open, now you can see that the image is showing up, but it is not fitting this. So for that I will close this and go to design, view designer, and click on this, and now I'll use auto size property set more detail. So we will again go here and select this and select the stretch image. Now if we run this, and now if I enter username and password, and now if I enter, and now if I click on the browse, and now if I select a picture here, this one, and if I click open, now you can see it is showing perfectly. Now as we have done this, now we will also validate these text boxes and these combo boxes. Now we have to add this status and this data into the status and type combo boxes. So for that we have to go to database, and first we will go to this status and edit top 200 rows, and we will enter status as we have already entered pending and resolved. And now if I check type, that if we have entered types, so if I edit top 2000, so yeah, we have also inserted the types that it is from Prime Minister, that it is to Prime Minister complaint cell, or the CM complaint cell, or the IGP, which is the head of the police. Now I'll close it down, and now I'll close this as well, and now I'll go to this status, and I'll select on this use and now I'll select data source, add project data source, database objects. Now if I select this, now CMS, and now it has selected the wrong database, so I'll go to previous and this database, next, and dataset next, and now I'll change a new connection, and I'll search, or I will enter the database name, that is the name of the, so I'll refresh this so that it get it. Or alternatively I can come to SSMS and copy it from here, copy, and I'll go here and paste it here, Control V, and now I'll select the database here, CMSDB, and now I'll test the connection. Yes, succeeded, so I'll click OK, and now I'll click next, and next, and here it will retrieve the all the tables and views and stored procedures. So I'll select this status table, because we have selected the status, and I'll click finish. Now status binding sources added to this, so I'll select the display member as this one, and the value member as this one. Now if I run this, you will see that if I select this, you can see all the values, both the values from the table. Now I'll close this. Similarly we will do with this one, so I'll stop this, I'll go to top and I'll select this one, and now this one, and I'll use database, and I'll use other data source. And now if I go to this, and now I will add database next, and all new, Control V, and now I'll select the database is CMSDB, and OK, and next, and now I'll select the type table, and now I'll click finish. So now here I will select the display member as a type, and the value member is type ID. Now we have done this. Now we will create a few of these text boxes. Now for that I'll click on the submit button, and here I haven't changed the name of this button, so I'll remove this backspace. Now if I go to design, it will show an error, and I'll double click on this error and it will take me to the error, and I will remove this line, and now if I again go to main form.design, now it will show up. Now I'll change the name of this browse button, so I'll go here down, and now I'll change here its name to submit btn. I'll change the name of this button as well, so I'll change this to update btn. Now I'll also go toward the top and change the name of this combo box to cmb, and type and this one to cmb status, and this one I'll change this one, no, so this will become marked to txt, and this one I've changed this one, and this one will become date picker, and now everything is set. Now we will go to this submit button, and we will down create here submit a method public void submit complaint, and now I'll use this. Now here we will use eft complaint number txt dot text length equals to 0, then do what, and then show a message box dot show please enter complaint number semicolon and I will pass the selection to complaint number txt dot select semicolon. Now I'll do this for all text boxes. So this is for complaint name, now I'll use else here and here. This will change to then name txt. Now the next one will go to main.form.design. The next one is complaint name, so then we have mark 2, and as we have already, we do not need to, you can validate this complaint type and complaint status and this date, but we have already selected status array type array date here, so do not need. If you want to, you can. Now we have here complaint name, and now I'll use marked 2, and I haven't changed these. Complainant name, and here marked 2, and here this will become marked 2, and this will become else, and now I'll go down. And now I'll remove this. Okay, now here I can use else, and now here we will write the code to insert data. So we have made a mistake. This is not the main form, this is the insertion form. We have to create the main form, and we have to change the name of this form, and we will show this data on this form when it is inserted into the database. So we will retrieve it from the database and show it in the grid view on the main form. So let's complete this, and then we will create the main form. So here I will insert. So for insertion, first I will need connection. So first I will use a scalable connection, is equal to new scalable connection semicolon, and now I will import, and here I will use constants dot connection, and then I'll use a scalable command, and scalable command is equal to new scalable command, and then I will pass in the stored procedure, and then a scalable connection, and then I will put semicolon. Okay, now here we will use stored procedure. So for that I will use connect to database. I'll go to CMSDB, and programmability, stored procedure, and is insert complaint. So I'll modify this. Now I'll copy its name from here, Ctrl C, and now I'll go back here, and now I'll Ctrl V this, and now we use the command type, so HTML and that it is small HTML command dot command and type is equal to command type dot store procedure semicolon. Now SQL command says a small SQL command dot parameters dot add with value, and here we want to pass the parameter. So the parameter is if I go to this database here, so the first is add C number, add C name. So we will use add C number and comma, this will be complaint number txt dot text, and now I'll put semicolon here. Now I'll copy this one, Ctrl C this, and as we have Ctrl V, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7. Okay, then this is the name. COMP name txt, and then this will become C name, and then we have C date or only date, C date, and this will become date picker dot value, and then we have type ID, and then I'll use so we will use CMB type dot selected value. So this will select the ID, not the, it will select the value member, not the display member from the type combo box. So the next one is type mark to picture and a status ID. So here I will use mark to txt dot text, and here I will use marked to, yeah, then net pick, and then status ID. So I'll use here CMB status dot selected value, and now remove the rest of them, and we will change the picture or the image. So for that, so to convert image into bytes, I have written a method in this project, this one. So I'll copy it from here, copy, and now we'll go to that project and I will paste it down here. Down here outside this. Control Z, Control Z, outside this as well, Control V. Now it is okay. Now I'll use here I'll remove the static from here, this one, and now I'll use here image to byte and here it takes an image, so I'll use complaint picture box dot image. Now you can use validation on this. You can check if picture box dot image is not equal to null, then you can pass it to this. Okay, now the image is converted, so we are set. Every value is given here. Now let me check this date picker, so I'll change this to text, and now I'll change this to date time dot parse, and now I'll use parentheses. We'll change this to, we will take it as a text from the picker and then we will change it to date time. Now everything is set. Now we have to execute this and then we have to check this. Now I'll use here try, and then we will use gauge, and then exception ex, and then we will print that exception, but first we will open the connection here. So SQL connection dot open, and then I'll use semicolon here, and then we will use int a is equal to SQL command dot execute non-query, and we will say it if a is greater than 0, then do what, then the war dialog result equal to message box dot show successfully inserted, and then do you want to enter another, and then dialog, and then dialog, not dialog button, message box button, buttons dot yes no. Now I'll put semicolon here, and now if dialog result equals dialog result dot yes, then do what? Then refresh or remove all the data from text boxes. So a complaint name txt.text equals to this semicolon, and then is complaint number txt.text equal to then empty, and then marked to txt.text equal to this, and you can also refresh the combo boxes and the date picker. Now if he select no, so we will close this form. So this dot close semicolon. Now if exception occurs, so we will show the exception. So we will use message box dot show. So here we will use ex dot get or dot message, and I'll put semicolon, and now I'll go down, and here I will use finally escapable connection dot close, and escapable connection dot dispose. Now we have coded this, so let's call this when we click the submit button. So I'll use here submit complaint, and now I'll press this. Now if I show you the complaint table, and now if I select top 1000 row, now as you can see that it is empty. Now we will insert a complaint, and then we will see if it is working. Now I'll come here, and now if I run this, so now I'll use admin as username, admin as password, and then I will log in. So we'll in the main form. So first I will select a picture, so I'll go browse, and now I'll go to desktop, and now I'll select here a picture, and I'll go down, and I'll use the screen.png open. So this is screen.png. I'll enter the complaint number as if I click the submit button, now it is saying me that please enter complaint number. So I will enter complaint number 12, and complaint name is MIK, and IK, and the date will be, I'll select the year 2020, and March 4, and it is from CM office, and mark to DSP INV, and status is pending. And now if I submit this, so successfully inserted. Do you want to enter another one, so I'll select no, and if I select yes, so it will clear some of the these fields. If I select yes, as you can see, this and this is cleared, so I can now insert another one. So I'll 45, and this will be Khan, and date is 21, and this is from home office. And now here I will insert mark to DSP legal, and this is pending. And now I'll browse another image. So for this we'll select this one and select, this is a shortcut, so this will not work. So I'll select this one, open, and not this one, and I'll select this one, and now I'll select submit, and as I click no, so this form will close. Now I'll go here, as previously we do not have any complaint here. Now if I select up 1000 rows,